What's up everybody, my name is Kason. Welcome back to the WDL. This is Season 4, Week 2 of the Wezette League, and Wezette is going to be the first video of this week. First of 4 videos. We will have 5 battles for you guys today, which I'm really excited to get into. If you haven't watched week 1 already, please go do that before you check this video out. Let's take a look at the standings before we jump into those fights. In first place, we have a 2-way tie between Isvar and Maraxus with Oelde's Angels and Bento Bullies, currently sitting at 2-0 apiece. In third place, we have Dervis, the third undefeated team up to this point, coach of Section 9, but obviously only with the 1-0 record, only ended up battling 1 time last week. Now, Juicy in 4th, 5 teams all tied at a 1-1 record. We have Maou of Norra's gang, Greatestness, coach of Elite, Shadow 91 with the Vanargand, Mifel, coach of Lightning Warriors, and Hisoka of Eggplant Brigade. Mifel will not be playing this week as his matchup was supposed to be against Tayo, but Tayo unfortunately is still having Android 14 issues, so his record will remain the same after this week. Garouken, currently sitting in 9th place, 0-1, hasn't won yet, but only got to battle 1 time. He will have another battle to try and fix that this week. In 10th place, we have a 2-way tie with Alkor, coach of Royally Funked, and Nemo of Lionsguard, who I'm sure are both itching to try and get in that win column. So without further ado, guys, we've got 5 battles for you. Let's jump right into them. Kicking off week 2 of Season 4 WDL, we have the Wezette teams going up against each other. Lionsguard versus the Vanargand, Nemo versus Shadow 91. Right out of the gate, a light and dark composition coming out from Nico. Couple of channeled spells coming online here for both Raph and Sakura, who also have Grace backing them up in the back. Righteous Prayer coming out from the Rosa here. And Rosa's unit, I honestly don't know tons about, so this should be interesting as Aerostorm of Removal coming out right away from Eliza, but honestly tanked up insanely well from the Raph. And this is really interesting. The Mind Enhancer buff going out for Grace, she is sitting way in the back. She doesn't get that buff onto anybody else, as the Heart Like Needles comes through for Sakura, so both units getting good buffs off, only on themselves. But Raph is such an amazing tank that I'm not entirely sure it's going to matter. She gets so many buffs from that she just used, along with the re-raise, and a big old 3-hit shield on the side of Grace. I think it's going to take a long time for this Raph to die. She might just be unkillable here, as long as she can keep the hate. Eliza going to standard attack to gain a little bit of AP back. How much damage can this Raph do to her? It turns out none, as she's going to go backline into the Grace for Shadow here. I wonder if he was running Bowtie on Grace. I didn't catch the movement, so that is very possible that he was doing so. As it looks like Grace is just going to standard attack, get the attack down, and CT up here. She's going to catch a Kiriga from Rosa, and this team from Shadow is really interesting. He is a player that uses a lot of unorthodox strategies that I absolutely love. As Double Shot Sharp comes through, going to nerf a couple of those statuses again, and Grace is one of those units who can really pump her CT up if she's able to get those abilities off, if she's able to get crits. And my goodness, you know who doesn't need a crit is Sakura, as she obliterates Eliza. And all of a sudden, Nemo is in a really good spot with this 3v2 Witch Strike. Is that a tank or is that a DPS? Because that is 8k damage onto the Grace, as Rosa's going to bring Eliza back to life. And man, this is going to be tough. Grace is going to find a heal onto Raph, and there's just not enough damage, I think, on the side of Shadow here. I think Raph was a fantastic bring into this team, as not only does Raph get a full HP heal there, she also gets additional AoE resist. Lightblade is going to crit for almost 11k onto the Grace. And as much as I think this team is really cool for Shadow, I don't think it stands a chance against this comp that Nemo brought here, unless Raph loses hate. That is really like the only win con that I think they have. Raph is going to start channeling something, or excuse me, Rosa is going to start channeling something, as is Eliza. It's another full life. Does she get 2 uses of full life? She already brought somebody back. Wow, that is really interesting. Mind Enhancer coming out from the Grace, so refreshing some of that spirit up, which Clean Piercer doing a good amount of damage to Raph. But again, it's just, I don't know how you get through this wall unless she loses the hate. Lightblade's going to kill Grace for a 3rd time. This poor woman has already died twice, so you have to make it 3 times, Nemo. My goodness, Sakura trying to set the kill record in 1 game here, as tons of status effects nullified on the Rosa. But unless you can nullify death, I'm not really sure how much it's going to matter. Dark attack resistance down on the Rosa. I keep wanting to call her so many different names because I never see this friggin' unit here. As Grace, are their HP bars low enough to proc a heal? I think they probably are. No, not quite. And Grace really doesn't care about doing anything other than buffing and healing. She has no interest in doing damage. And honestly, Rosa's the exact same way. This is such a weird fight because it's kind of just like one or two people dealing damage and everybody else basically sitting back and being like, let's help each other. Spirit Break Pain comes out, 8,400 damage on the crit to kill Eliza. And this Sakura, legitimately, guys, I think has done like 45,000 damage. Not in AoEs, just like single target damage. Like she nuked Eliza, she nuked Grace 3 times, or maybe Raph did one of the times. I don't know. Regardless, Grace, are you finally going to try and do some damage here, or are you just going to channel something? She is. She's going to go for the Holy, which is a guaranteed hit unless you've got moves like Jagger. You reflex it right there like Rosa just did. Ice Crystal Arrow coming in for 3k onto the Sakura to try and make it look at least serviceable here. But again, as cool as this team is, there's just not enough damage. Onyx Vivifier finally going to take this out. And honestly, guys, maybe, I don't know, maybe I was seeing something different than somebody else, but I couldn't picture a way that that fight was going to end differently unless Raph lost hate. That's just so bulky on the side of Nemo here. And Shadow, unfortunately, just doesn't have the damage with those missile units. So awesome fight to see. It was really cool seeing all of those units on Shadow's side, but unfortunately falls short there. But in the fortunate side for Nemo, finally getting on the board in the win column. Congratulations to him. And let's check out the next fight. Battle number 2 here is going to be none other than Maou, coach of Norra's gang, versus Dervis, coach of Section 9. Dervis making his second appearance here, the second battle of the season, with it looks like Astrius, Agrius, hopefully I don't mix those two up, alongside Shells in the back. So very interesting. The haste TMR coming right out of the gate for Astrius, along with Keenblade, says, let's get Astrius across the map as fast as physically possible. And with these Shells in the back, I could see this being a very hard to take down Agrius, even though she is only level 120. However, that courage will be easily removable for Maou, as it looks like Yrel is going to do just that. The Fatal Oath buff allows this entire team to remove courage very easily, and Snow's courage here will not be as easily removed unless he can get that follow-up attack going. As Edge of No Return honestly tanked up very well, only 2,200 damage, not bad at all. Keenblade late coming in for the little Leela means Yrel's going to hopefully jump up turn order. Actually, I still don't even see her. I don't think she got caught in that. That was actually, she was not included in that Keenblade party. As Hallowed Bolt comes out, a okay amount of damage, honestly. Lands the silence, but on the wrong person. If the silence landed on little Leela, could have been huge. Ravage coming out, removing the courage from the Agrius here, though, as Astrius coming out, and Dervis, I swear, is just trying to mess me up with the team names, or the unit names, rather. Release the Void coming in. How much damage is it going to do to the tank? 3591, not bad. Lowering that slash resistance, 2,000 damage on the follow-up, but with that low health, looks like Snow is going to get that physical damage up here, as Prescient Advantage does a good chunk of damage to the Leela before she can even do anything. And she does very little here as a DPS. Rend the Heavens comes through for Yrel, a little bit more damage, and it does increase her defense piercing rate, but I think Shells is going to get a big old heal here, and that is going to be tough for Maou to overcome if she lands that Judgment Blade coming in, going to get a kill. It is now a 3v2, and it might as well be a 3v1 as the stop lands for Agrius. Level 120, level 140, doesn't matter. Still getting stops, still being an amazing tank, and Crystal Tracer is going to drop the Snow, almost kill the Yrel, and Dervis is looking really clean in this fight. Yrel is up to bat with the Spirit Breaker, good chunk of damage and dropping the attack, but Astrius is going to drop her very shortly here as the arm shot's going to come through for 1,000. Crystal Tracer will remove her from the fight, and that is a very clean win for Dervis and Section 9. Huge congratulations to him for starting out the season 2-0. The next two teams to enter the ring are Bag O Cats versus Royally Funked, coached by Garouken and Alkor respectively. And it looks like Alkor's running a nice little ice water team with Elia Rundall, Summer Glassy, and the Tyrell. On the other side, we've got a Luel, Salir, and Dialdo comp. So very, very interesting. Looking at the positioning from Alkor here, Summer Glassy starting in the back and then gathering that hate. Always interesting to see when the tank is in the back to start here. As Luel's going to buff, she's going to walk forward. Black-robed Witch Helena TMR is online for the Salir. And Dialdo looking to separate a little bit, so not clumping his units on the side of Garouken, as he's going to go with that Voice of Despair buff. He's going to start entering the fight. Tyrell, is he in range to deal damage? I think he probably is. He's going to go for a Nighthawk, actually. So we got that Lancer sub job here as Hail of Bullets lands the Frostbite from Alaya. So will that have an impact on the AP drain of the Dialdo here as the defense down? Defense is broken here from Summer Glassy. Salir is going to enter, start channeling a spell. She might be in range to deal damage. She has pretty crazy range. This could be a White Mage sub, though, either Protect or Shell, something like that as well. As Luell is going to start getting closer. 115 AP on the side of Dialdo, so he should still be able to use a couple of attacks, even with that Frostbite. What is he going to go? It's not going to be the Limit Break. It's Return to Nothingness. Nice little bit of chip. Honestly, more to Summer Glassy than I would have expected. And it's not Protector Shell. It's a Curata, actually. He was low enough to catch a heal. And this Dialdo is draining all of the AP from Tyrell. And it looks like probably a good chunk from Alaya as well. She's got good defense piercing right now. But these units are almost out of AP here. But Dialdo is out of hate, is the thing. Is Summer Glassy is going to start entering the backline fight. Armor Piercer to get some damage onto Luell. But Salir with the elemental advantage. This could hurt Summer Glassy here. Gift of Knowledge. Luell's going to start taking all of these pages. Give her 1,000 paper cuts for 5420 damage. She will get that massive heal back, though, as Alkor's tank is now fully healthy again. With 58 AP remaining, Dialdo should be able to get another attack off before losing that last little bit to Frostbite. Gonna go with the Return to Nothingness. Again, 4,300 damage, not too bad, pretty respectable, as Thundaga comes out for 4,000, and that is pretty decent onto the Glassy. Tyrell out of AP, though, is just going to standard attack the tank, and so far, so good. Both tanks doing a decent job here, as Sharpshoot comes out for 3,200 damage. Salir, can she find an AoE or the Bolt Surge onto 2 units here? I expect she should be able to hit both Tyrell and Glassy, as Glassy is essentially out of AP. Just going to standard attack the Luell. The Reactive Force does almost 3k, actually, which means Bolt Surge is going to kill both Glassy and Tyrell. Excuse me, not going to kill Glassy. She lives just barely. The Paper Cut going to take her out. It is now a 3v1. If Alaya can find kind of a weird angle here, she might be able to do something, but that's not going to be the case, as Dialdo is going to move out of the way of his allies. He does not have hate, though. Alkor's Alaya going to snipe the Luell. Can she kill this Salir? Salir should do a ton of damage to Alaya here. Bolt Surge going to come out for 6,800, almost enough to kill. Can Dialdo finish it off? Is the question. No, the standard attack basically does nothing. That Frostbite really putting in some work here, as Alaya needs to take out the Salir. She can barely not take her out in one shot. Salir should be able to finish this off with, I assume, a Bolt Surge. Nah, she's going to make it fancy with the Dark Ramu Summon. And it looks like Garouken is now on the board this season with a victory over Alkor. Unfortunately for Alkor, falling to 0-3 on the season. But regardless, a pretty awesome fight to see, and congratulations to the Bag of Cats. Next up, we have Elite versus Elda's Angels. Greatestness versus Isvar. Greatestness rocking a Reagan, Grifford, and OG Zazan comp. And it looks like the double Elda plus Mish comp coming out from Isvar. Really cool to see here. Should be an interesting fight with some of the elemental rock, paper, scissors going on here, as Keenblade comes out from the OG Elda, as 2 fire units on Isvar's side going to be very good into the double ice units of Greatestness. Can Zazan try and help that, try and turn the tides for them, pun intended, for the water unit, as the Axeman's Ward is online for Grifford, Keenblade from Zazan. So good initial turn rotations by both players so far, both making use of that Rob Horn TMR. With the Fortress of the Lion here for King of the Lions Elda, he has got tons of AP here. Grifford going to pop Relentless Stance, get that courage and some extra AP as well for himself. And the King Bradley Trustmaster for Reagan. This should be interesting. Fight should start to commence very shortly here, but before it does, the OG Elda is going to pop that Limit Break, going to give himself a nice barrier, courage, unit resistance, all that good stuff, along with some hate. What can Mish do here, though? I expect a decent amount of damage here. Firaga, 4,200, not an earth-shattering amount, but a good amount considering he's only 40 cost in this format. And speaking of 40 cost, the Zazan gets about 1,200 damage onto the Elda. I think Greatestness would have liked to see a little more than that. He tanks that up quite well. Lion's Reign dropping the CT of the Zazan and also doing quite a bit of damage. And Mish reflexes Grifford as he goes in for the dual judgment. It will drop the CT of the King of the Lions, but he doesn't get through that HP barrier, as Elda Leonis, the OG version, takes out Zazan, and this is going to be hard for Greatestness. Reagan does do a ton of damage to Mish, but he's going to live it, which means he probably gets another Firaga off on both units. That is a good chunk of damage for that little fire mage here, and Grifford is up next to bat. Dual Judgment coming in, 340. That Elda just tanking up that damage insanely well. Isvar's Eldas are just built different. Lion's Drain, 3,100 damage, and also giving himself a heal back. And this fight is all but over, I think, as Reagan will take out the Mish. But the both Eldas sitting in great position here, as Obliterate will obliterate Grifford's health bar, take him down to 1. The twin Elda will take him out, and double Elda is looking victorious here, as Surge Strike is going to deal 2,800 damage. Reagan will get a heal back, but unless he has way more damage than I expect, this is probably over. He does remove the Courage, which will help him out a little bit, but the new Elda coming out with the beautiful Limit Break animation, basically destroying the entire planet in the process. 11,000 damage, also giving himself some CT up to his other version. Not enough to make him lap, as Reagan will get one more attack off, but that OG Elda is tanking up damage so incredibly well, and he is going to finish it off with the Esper animation. He is summoning Golem, and obviously you can see it looks like either expecting maybe Earth, but more likely defense and pierce attacks with this Esper going on here. Regardless, he took on the slash attackers absolutely no problem. Isvar building his team exceptionally well, and he picks up his 3rd win of the season. Congratulations. Capping off this week's battles for the Wezette League, we have none other than Maraxus trying to keep pace with Isvar. If he wins, he will be 3-0. Otherwise, if he loses, Isvar will be all alone in first place. And on the other side, Hisoka trying to put another win in that column for himself. And this is some interesting stuff going on here. So Hisoka, with the AoE buff off of the Ferris, is sitting alongside 2 Pierce units in Kane and the Surge. As very cool to see. Maraxus still rocking that Velis, has used him in every single fight up to this point, I believe, but this time is running a couple of lightning units, which might bode well for him going into this Ferris. Veln, do not sleep on her. She is not the most glamorous selection quest unit. She doesn't have that many different attacks she can use, but her Night Hunter can hit like an absolute truck. As Immortal Spirit is online for the Kane, he has both AP Restore and Courage online. He is ready to go. Leaping Assault coming in, doesn't land the status, but does give himself regen. Night Hunter going to come through, and this is what I'm talking about, you guys. Almost 12k damage coming out from the Velm. Obviously, that is on a Surge, but still some very respectable damage, as Charlotte is going to make herself nice and tanky with that 40% Protect and Shell, which is better than most other units get. Bella says, hey, I'm sick of being a support unit. I'm going to join the fight and go offensive. 4,900 damage. Gives himself a nice little 3-hit barrier here. As Ferris, what can she get done? Pirate Onslaught comes through. That did almost nothing to the Velm. I am shocked at how well she tanked that. I understand that she's a water unit, but wow, I'm really impressed. Piercing Lance coming down, dropping the Pierce resistance as well. So that did a lot more damage than Ferris did, but Vacuum Slash, good God, Velm is taking this fight over single-handedly here, as Charlotte coming with the Limit Break might just finish this off. I expect Ferris to probably live this, as she does normally have good AoE resist. She does barely live, but Kane is down for the count. Velis will either heal or finish this off. We'll have to take it. I'm assuming he's going to heal and let Velm do the work, as she has done all fight. And that is going to be it. They are all fully topped off. Velm is going to finish this battle in style. And I said she might not be the flashiest unit in terms of how many different attacks she can use, but she can use those damn old attacks. Night Hunter, Vacuum Slash, the Season 1 Lancer kit. Her piercing levels are crazy. Her attack stack can get through the roof, and she showed all of that in that fight. So very well done by Maraxus and the Bento box bullies, bullying the other team here. And let's go check out the standings. All right, guys, that wraps up the battles for this league for this week. And let's take a look at the standings after the first 2 weeks heading into week 3. We still have a 2-way tie for first with Isvar and Maraxus, both sitting in a 3-0 record, obviously not lost yet. Both teams looking very, very impressive to this point. And shout out both new players to the WDL. And in third place as well, Dervis, coach of Section 9, currently sitting at 2-0, undefeated as well. Another new player. And Mifel, even though he didn't get to play this week, kind of got a boost in terms of his record. He went from a tie for 5th into all alone in 4th, so currently sitting at 1-1 with Lightning Warriors. The top 4 teams are all brand new players, so new players in Wezette looking very, very good. Now, here is where the meat and potatoes are of the records. These people are all tied. A 6-way tie for 5th place currently with Greatestness, coach of Elite, Shadow 91 of the Vanargand, Maou of Norra's gang, Hisoka with Eggplant Brigade, Garouken getting on the board this week with Bag of Cats, and Nemo also getting on the board with Lionsguard this week. So they are all at 1 and 2. A lot of things can happen over the next 6 weeks. And now Alkor with coach of Royally Funked. Man, he's an amazing player, but unfortunately has had a rough start to the season, currently sitting 0-3. But if there was anybody I would be willing to bet on to turn it around, it would be him. And obviously, Tayo has not played any battles yet. Again, fingers crossed for January 31st to fix his issues, that he can play some catch-up games and we can get the standings all back in order. But guys, that is it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Please leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. I would really appreciate it. That being said, thank you guys so much for watching. Have a wonderful day.